Hello and welcome to the GX video series and podcast. You're either watching us or listening to us on a channel of your choice. We're at the World Government Summit 2023, and I have with me Praveena Rai with the National Payments Corporation in India. Let's dig into the conversation and find out what's going on in that part of the world. Praveen, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hi.
So you're from the payments world. You're working with private sector, government entities. You're trying to create new solutions with technology in a country with over 1.5 billion people. That's a big, big, big number. Help us understand a typical day for you and some of your problems with dealing with such a magnanimous, mission.
Yeah. So mission for NPCI is to drive the cutting edge when it comes to digital payments and use that as the bedrock towards digitization and efficiency for economic growth.
Yeah.
Now, a day in that life is a very interesting one, right? Never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Because we focus on what are the problems we need to solve. So there is a stack of products, flagship products like UPI, which is a mobile-first digital payment system. There is RuPay, which is a card network. The Aadhaar payment system, which works on the identity rails of Aadhaar. And these are growing at a phenomenal pace, right? So we cover about 8 billion transactions a month, and keeping that running, keeping that alive, providing great experience to the customers and users is objective number one every day. The second would really be to identify the problems that customers continue to have, to look at where cash is being used in the system, to look at what further services people are looking for, merchants are looking for, governments are looking for, to understand what is the regulatory vision, and then really chart out the game plan, tends to be the other half. So these would be the two, I would say, large items.
Yeah, and it's a lot. It's a lot to work with, and I think while the scale of things can be daunting, that it's so many billions of people that you're serving, but I guess it's the process, it's the approach, it's the methodology that you're approaching it with, and how to expand it, which is I think something that every country can learn from, because if you're able to master it in a smaller country with a few million people or 20 or 100 million people can learn it, I think it could be life-changing.
Now, you couldn't have said it better. We work on three tenets. The first is interoperability, and that's what we do as a central system, as a central payment switch for all the products that we offer, is that every payment provider in the country, bank or non-bank, connects to this single platform so that a user is not tied up to use all their services with one player. So that really opens up the opportunity. It opens up and creates a level playing field for everybody. But most importantly, it opens up innovation and it opens up choice. So that's tenet number one. And tenet number two would be collaboration. I think the story of India and where we are with digital payments would not be where it is if not for the fact that we were able to unbundle, parts of what was a simple payment process of debiting one account and crediting one account, and bring in a deep collaboration between banks and fintechs, between various players in the ecosystem who brought in what they are best at. So it could be compliance, it could be innovation, great customer experience. All of these came together for the magic to really work.
Yeah, and it hasn't been overnight. It hasn't been an overnight
No, not at
success,
all.
right? I think we have to tell our viewers and listeners
Yeah.
that it's taken, I think, a good part of the last decade for this to slowly happen. What about the future? Where are the next? I wouldn't go to a longer horizon. I'd just talk about maybe 10 years, because given the changes that are happening in India and the scale and the speed at which they happen. I think 10 years is such a great time. First of all, we see the emergence of different types of monetary systems emerge in the world, right? And they're putting pressure on fiat currencies. They're putting pressure on economies, on creative work, on people's employment. Like many things are happening in the world. That's one side of the thing. There's also trade that's expanding. There's also cross-border collaboration that's happening. Uh, Without going into the C word, which is cryptocurrencies. I don't want to talk about cryptocurrencies at all, but India is also looking into understanding the landscape, right? Where are the next 10 years headed? Are we thinking CBDCs? Are we thinking standardization in other ways? Just wanted to learn from you, where are we headed?
Yeah. So NPCI is like a 12-year-old organization, right? So the next 10 years is eternity.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to look at it with a very agile and open mind. So while there is a thought for what the next 5 years could be like, I think it's really about taking it every year at a time. Being open to redoing the technology, looking at the tech stack, because I think that's really critical to whatever is delivered. This could be based on blockchain technologies, which is what CBDC is based on. It could be based on, various mechanisms. We use open source, for example, very, very intensely. And being very open to how the various requirements of the customer are going to emerge. So some of it one would create, and some of it one would have to anticipate. Bringing in service layers to address all of these requirements. So for example, while UPI has been really popular as a digital payment system, we now have credit on UPI for the first time. And India is still an underpenetrated market when it comes to easy access of credit.
Yeah.
So RuPay credit cards will get linked on UPI, and we believe that is going to be a big game changer in penetration of credit.
Yeah.
There is the interlink between bill presentment. We have a product called BBPS, billing presentment system, along with payments and the integration thereof. And most importantly, the go international
Yeah.
for us. So which is
Yeah.
really to say, look, we have a good success model running. It's been phenomenal in the way it's worked for India. At the protocol level, at the tech level, the product suite, the entire rules, guidelines, and sort of the way the ecosystem has worked.
Yeah.
How can we do a lift and shift, fine tune it for other markets,
Right.
that would
Right.
need it, that
Yeah.
will benefit from it, and really look at that as a go international. So I think these are some of the things in play.
course.
Short window, not the 10-year
Sure.
window for sure.
Sure.
And I think we'll let this evolve.
Okay. I want to ask you more about the kind of the process that you guys undertake for prototyping new solutions, new products, just to understand how fast are you, because the number of people that could be involved in the testing could be a few millions, right? You've got access to that number of folks in there. How fast are these products being developed? Is it a few months? Is it a few years? Just to understand the kind of the process of the product creation,
Yeah.
visual, understanding. Hey, here's where we start, and when is it done?
Yeah. No, it's a very complex one that we continuously
Of course.
try to simplify. So on one side is our own work. So what we do with the tech radar, we keep looking out for what's the technology that's going to be most suited to us next, what's emerging, and we don't hesitate to really rewrite and reimagine what that tech stack should look like. And then you have the product stack, the product suite. Customer needs, how does that tech marry into customer requirements? And how do you create those solutions that eliminate friction, simplify the experience, still retain security, all that magical stuff? And we do a lot of collaborative work there. So we go through working groups, task forces, which include the ecosystem, which include players from the market. So it's really a co-creation kind of a process
Right.
there. And then comes the tough part, which is that the entire ecosystem also needs to now go live on whatever that product roadmap is. So
Yeah.
it's not enough if the NPCI switch is upgraded, with the
Yeah.
next version of functionality. Oh,
Yeah.
now I've got mandate creation, auto pay, I can do credit, I can apply to, public offerings. So, okay, but, till all our banks, 40 plus commercial banks,
Yeah.
1,000 plus small banks, cooperative, regional, rural banks, they all also need to get
Of
enabled.
course. Of
Yeah, so
course.
we work closely with the banks, but we also work closely with the technology
Yeah.
partners because the ecosystem works with technology
Yeah.
partners. So in fact, last year we launched something called a partner program
Mm.
that allows partners to come and pre-certify so that when this large ecosystem needs to go live, the tech suite for the market
Yeah.
is also ready
Yeah.
while we are getting our own tech and product ready so that we can sort of go lockstep there. So
Incredible.
it's a continuous process.
Absolutely love it. We love the journey that you guys are on, and it's such an inspirational story that I hope we're able to share it with participants at the summit here at the World Government Summit and reach others that we reach through our platform. But Praveena, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the future episode. We definitely look forward to having you on board again, just to understand how the journey is progressing. So thank
Awesome
you.
chat, Ian.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you. And that's the end of this episode, folks. Please subscribe and share it with your friends, peers, and colleagues. Follow the journey of GX at gx.ae.